Ragiroth Enterprises. Devil May Cry.
How's it going, everybody? Ragiroth Enterprises here with another Devil May Cry 5 related video. There was actually a about 15 minute gameplay demo of Dante that was revealed earlier today at the time of this video. And to be honest, I think I was actually even more excited for that than I was the trailer. I mean, we had like Gauntlet action, chainsaw motorcycle action, naked Trish, style switching, boss fight, naked Trish. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool demo. I think I watched it a lot more than I watched the Nero demo, no offense to Nero. So now instead of doing like a reaction video to it or like, you know, a full in-depth analysis on it, I just kind of found like 6 things that I thought was kind of cool or interesting about it that kind of stood out to me. You know, if you know them already, I apologize. You know, it's just kind of what I noticed, and some of them are kind of more obvious than others, but I just thought I'd point them out and talk about them. So here we go. First thing I noticed that I thought was interesting was the somersault kick that Dante does with the Balrog gauntlets. It definitely resembles Guile's flash kick from Street Fighter games. But Virgil, when he used Beowulf, actually had 2 moves that were, I guess, kind of flash kick-ish. Dante never really used when he used any of the gauntlets in previous games. I don't know if it's more like Virgil's Rising Sun move or the Lunar Phase move. I want to say more so the Rising Sun move because he kind of just goes directly vertically up with a somersault kick, just like with this one that Dante does here. So I don't really know what this means for like if Virgil was to ever be playable, if he even had Beowulf again. Maybe he won't, because this is kind of, you know, if he's gonna be playable again, it's probably more of like a canon, like actual, like this is how he's gonna fight now, as opposed to just kind of like, you know, reusing Devil May Cry 3 movesets. But I don't know for sure. I feel like it's become more of a Virgil weapon than a Dante weapon with Beowulf. It honestly could just be a reference to Guile's flash kick and just a more direct reference than what Virgil did in the past. Hell, there's a couple fighting style references. Obviously, definitely Ken from Street Fighter. And I'm even seeing Dante doing some capoeira moves, you know, like Eddie Gordo from Tekken, which I actually think is really cool. I really like this gauntlet weapon. I like him a lot more than I thought I was going to like him. I just kind of wish they'd use a different element than fire. Like, fire has been done with Ifrit, and I feel like Gilgamesh, even though it wasn't fire, it was kind of like in that field. I mean, and it's one of the reasons why Beowulf is still overall my favorite, but I really like the moveset for this one. I think it's probably my favorite pair of gauntlets or greaves, whatever, since Beowulf. So for number 2, what I specifically noticed with the motorcycle, or Cavalier I think what it's called, is that I guess the normal, like, you know, regular moves, like triangle moves, you would press to attack with it, or like the chainsaw, sword, whatever the hell you want to call it moves. But I noticed he specifically did the motorcycle moves when he was driving on the motorcycle when he was in Swordmaster. So this leads me to believe that the moves where he's on the motorcycle is like restricted to Swordmaster. So I guess kind of like the Scythe mode for Nevin in Devil May Cry 3. I think this looks a little more, well done, and, you know, not kind of like a middle finger to the alternative mode. But the weapon looks really cool. I really dig it. I think it's definitely more like Devil May Cry 3 tier in alternate weapons. I suppose Devil May Cry 4, like, you know, yeah, I like Lucifer, but I feel like it was such an awkward weapon to use, and it was just kind of cool because they were kind of like Virgil's Phantom Swords, and like Virgil wasn't playable in that game. But then when Virgil was added, it's like, who cares? But no, this is a really cool weapon, and it kind of reminds me of something out of Bayonetta, and I really like that it's like purple electricity. That's really cool too. But you know, I thought that was just kind of worth pointing out for this weapon, because I always wondered, I'm like, well, you know, 2 different modes, how do they work? So it seems like motorcycle moves are indeed the Swordmaster restricted moves. Alright, so this was kind of bittersweet for me. So, funny enough, in the first demo, in the cutscenes he's using Sparta, and then in gameplay he's using Rebellion. So this led me to believe, oh, maybe they don't want to, you know, spoil what Sparta can do yet. And also, I think because it's kind of a big spoiler of why he wasn't using Rebellion in that. But then there was another demo later, like it was on a live stream, and they were using Sparta. And unfortunately, it looks like Sparta is just, in fact, a reskin of Rebellion. So that kind of sucks. I mean, it is kind of cool because they do like show it morphing and stuff, like turning into sight. That's just like, oh, it's still just kind of rebellion. It was definitely kind of it was kind of definitely disappointing. I mean, there might be like some new things that they, that they don't want to show off yet. I'm hoping that's the case, especially because I find it hard to believe that Dante doesn't at least have 3 guns. So maybe he gets some cool new Sparta abilities later in the game. I don't know. I mean, probably not trying to get my hopes up, but I mean, this aside though, it's like I am happy Sparta is usable, at least for Dante again. It's been years. So it is cool he has it again. It makes me wonder though if Trish is ever playable, will she use Sparta or not? I mean, she probably will. But even so, I thought this was interesting to point out. It is just disappointing that after all this time they just couldn't make it function a bit differently. But again, maybe there's still more to show off. I don't want to be too I want to be, I guess, realistic expectations, but not too negative. Okay, so this I thought was kind of big news. And it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but when Dante goes in double trigger, it looks like he can finally fly again. Literally, he can only do this in Devil May Cry 1 and 3, and it was only for one weapon, the Alistair or the Nevin. Not only can he finally do it again, but it doesn't seem like it's weapon restricted this time. And even though it doesn't seem like you kind of like stay in, I guess, the same altitude in air, it seems a little less like, I guess, constricted and stiff. It's like more fluidly. I guess the question is if there's actual any like double trigger exclusive attacks like air raid or vortex. I'm assuming like you can fly with any of the weapons equipped, but maybe air raid or vortex you can only do with probably Cavalier equipped, because that's like the electric themed weapon. That's what I'm assuming. I'm hoping they're available, and either the person playing the demo just didn't know how to do it, they weren't available, or it's because he just didn't have, because I noticed when I think the time he does fly, he has I think Rebellion equipped, not Cavalier, so he probably didn't know he can do that. But also apparently, and I guess this is what kind of was hinting that maybe Sparta was just a reskin of Rebellion. He can do round trip with Rebellion now. He can never do that with Rebellion. It was only with Force Edge. So I thought that was kind of neat. I mean, again, it doesn't really matter because you're probably using Sparta a lot anyway. But I guess that's kind of neat. They finally just let him be able to do that with Rebellion. I always thought that was kind of weird. He can never. So then this was kind of interesting. 1 or 2 of the enemies flat out looks like Nelo Angelo. I guess the form that Virgil took in Devil May Cry 1. I don't really know what the hell this means. I mean, it's a shame because of Virgil in the game, playable or not. I would have kind of liked his double trigger to be Nelo Angelo, so this might mean it's not it. I mean, it could be a lot more like a powered up version of Nelo Angelo, because because it's like Nelo Angelo and this the enemy we see, like it just looks like Nelo Angelo kind of in HD. It's not really anything new. It is interesting regardless, and I feel like this sort of changes the lore a bit. I guess we all kind of thought that Nelo Angelo would maybe be exclusive to Virgil, but maybe it's Nelo Angelo is more of, I guess, an armor that I guess is given to certain demonic warriors, and Virgil was just kind of the biggest badass in said armor. Either way, kind of neat pointing out. So I think that's about it. Just kind of 6 things I noticed that I thought were kind of cool. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about that was really cool in it, let me know. I mean, I thought it was a really sick demo, and it's made me even more hyped for the game than I already am. I guess I do have a slight theory. It probably isn't going to happen, but you notice how like the end of each trailer for the character, like the end of Nero's, we saw a little bit of Dante. Finally showed Dante's trailer, and then at the end of Dante's, we see a little bit of V. I am thinking like if at the end of V's trailer they do show a little bit of Virgil, I do think that kind of confirms he might be playable in the base game, like maybe for a story unlock. However, if they don't, that probably means Virgil is kind of stuck in DLC hell. Pun intended. But yeah, that's about it. I'm really I'm like even more excited for this game. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Don't forget to check out my friend Mark in the description below. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you like my other videos, I'd really appreciate it. It would motivate me to keep making videos, and it would tell you when I release said videos. Let's see if we can get this video to maybe let's say 75 likes. It's, I feel like, a safe number. And as I always say, another time, another place. Keep being awesome. Also, one more 7th thing that was also interesting in the gameplay demo: naked Trish.